My name is Pasi Ahonen from VTT. I work as a principal scientist at Oulu, the area of cybersecurity. And my mission has been over several years already to improve the cybersecurity of industry that is used in automation. And mission for today I have that everybody of you understand the risk of cyber world today for your business. And I try to make it as simple as possible for you so that you understand what kind of risks we are talking about. And yeah, do I look silly? I always look silly, don't worry. Yeah, and my fellow researcher Sami Noponen was actually carrying out this for this presentation some security testing, so I wanted to include him also to the slide. So before we start testing or penetration testing to certain targets, the tester needs to know who is bad. So who is our enemy? Who is the attacker? So that requires some discussion with the customer, that how they feel, what kind of risks, who are their enemies, who wants to hurt them, their business or operations or otherwise. So you need to have a serious discussions with them, and maybe with the risk managers also, that what is the biggest risk for their business. And to let you know that who are the bad guys usually in corporations, it's the insiders. It's the malicious insiders who make it on purpose, this attack inside the company, or then inadvertent actors who just accidentally malware. They don't do it on purpose, but accidentally they malware their company systems. And from outside, last year attacks comes, only 40% of the attacks comes from outside of the firewall. So you should look inside your company, your employees, and you should educate your employees. As you can see, there has been some progress for this I accidentally malware. This green sector has reduced over the year quite a lot now. So there is some improvements ongoing. Okay, what you should know at the first hand is that the cybercrime is now services. It's in the internet, it's in the darknet, it's in an underground market of different countries. For example, in Russia has their own Russian-speaking underground, criminal underground, that sells criminal crime software for crimes and services for crimes. So attackers today don't need to know about techniques at all. They just buy some services from the market, criminal market. They can choose from the list of services what they want to do. Do they want to do a denial of service attack to some IP address, or do they want to steal some information, to hack some data from some company or so. Number two, there is a dedicated servers. This means that the serious attackers, they buy kind of virtual private servers from these services to perfectly hide from authorities, to catch them. So if authorities are almost trying to catch them, they can change the service totally to another place in Earth, because they are using virtualized services for these criminal purposes. They can store their data there, and their malware they can store there privately without any authorities to catch them. They can buy services paper install type. They don't need to buy the software or licenses. They can buy only for one installation a couple of dollars, and they can get their mission done. So you need to know this, that it doesn't need to know technically aware guys. And this picture, of course, VTT is in the middle, which I'm from VTT. we have this VTT war room, this closed kind of internet simulating room that we have lots of equipment and switches and servers and virtualized systems and automation systems. And that is our kind of core of making business here, so that we want to cooperate with the industries on the left side, like oil and gas, power, wastewater cleaning, energy grids and medicine, food and beverages companies. There is the actual business where the money comes. And then the left, the right up, there are vendors and service providers like you, most of you I think, who are doing automation systems for the industry's use. And there is also these service providers companies like Lanet One and Prosus and Nixu, who are providing like security services, for example, to these vendors. And what we do in the war room is that we test these two systems together. We cannot do this ourselves. We need always partnerships and cooperation. We don't get good test targets if we don't cooperate with others. So, and use cases we get from the industry. And then we have a critical partners, NESA, Huoltovarmuuskeskus in Finnish, who is supporting this work. When we make testing, we should let other Finnish parties to know what is the right way to improve cybersecurity in general, and how it should be done in each case. And we will cooperate with the National Cybersecurity Center of Finland also, Kyberturvallisuuskeskus, and others. So we had this war room, and there we have for example, we have red team people who are specialized on attacking target systems. So they get money for making attacks, and customers want it. So, but we do it in a controlled way, with ethical hacking purposes, and usually on closed doors, so it's not connected to other systems. Accidentally, if you do a penetration testing, for example, you are installing a penetration testing tool and then you start running it, you can accidentally crash the network or crash the system, so you need to run these on safe environments. Then the security testing part, there are lots of commercial and open source tools to make efficient security testing, and that is most of the same people than in the red team that is specialized on that. Then monitoring is important, so that we need, for example, how the target is behaving under attack, when it goes down, when it behaves in a wrong way, so that we know that which test case was causing this. And then we have some visualizing threat model tools that we can see what the kind of big picture of threats of that test target. And we continuously develop this core. Well, security testing is just one part of the bigger picture when we are improving industrial cybersecurity, automation cybersecurity. So on the left side you can see some technical measures like OPC UA, OPC UA gateways, firewalls for automation networks, and then some development tools, SDKs, and security properties of those. Then we have this security testing task, and then we have this network monitoring tasks. And most of the work we have done last year, for example, we have done for those two tasks, major tasks. So because we have, the first picture, there was the insider was the threat. So we need to monitor the inside network, the production network, what is happening there, how the attacker is inside, whether he is inside or not, and then try to get it out to understand how it works. Then on the left side we have kind of policies and instructions and models how to do things in general in a secure way. Okay, then how we work with the customer. So we first have a meeting where we discuss about the suitable products for where we start with what is the most suitable, or where we get most of the benefits from which products, and so we cannot test everything at same time. Then we talk about the current testing process and tools, and if there is any security testing at all in the company today, and we go through the test methods as good as possible and have some objectives for our cybersecurity testing. And then we do the actual cybersecurity testing at VTT. So we find the best tools. There are hundreds of different cybersecurity testing, penetration testing tools available. Just some of those works for each target. We need to have a very good software expertise to find the tools quickly and see what methods and tools are working for this target specifically. And then we can start making scripts, automated scripts, that how to make it more automated, this testing. And we can have some examples, test scripts for that. And finally, the hardest part is that we want that our customers could test cybersecurity test themselves. And that's more difficult. We should integrate this cybersecurity testing to their own testing processes. And that is usually the hardest part to make it really happen. Then to the OPC UA security. So let's think how attacker works. He first buys equipment, what is coming to be his or her target. Then he studies it closely. He, for example, puts it to work, records some data from the network, and then start modeling that data. What kind of messages it's sending and receiving, and then the attacker can slightly modify those messages and send them again and see how the target behaves. And so usually you start with anonymous or non-security mode to see what kind of messages there will be. And then you start, for example, the signaling, you record that and see how the signing and handshakes are going, and how the attacker could get into this handshake process, so that nobody realizes that there is somebody in between. So this way, this crime industry is developing their software. They buy it in, and they study it, they try it, they make a working application for it, and so on. So we also do it that way when we test. And let you know, there is OPC UA Security Evaluation is already done by BSA Germany. I don't go into details of that. It's very good study. You should check it. And it's coming to be an English version also later on. Then to the OPC UA product of process, that was the actual cases that we have run for 3 years for process. So we have this process OPC UA simulations for server for 214. And the process, how we proceeded, was that together we made some test planning, what products, what kind of test cases, what focus, and so on. And then we find the tools and methods that works, and then we report it to the customer, and they then study it and do some fixing, so that then we can test again. Okay, there are no more problems. And in this case, it was also so that process was able to fix the problems that we found. So this is the way to go. So in 2014, we did some fuzzing and vulnerability scanning, and we found there was some findings in the TCP binary encoding and HTTP. And there were some problems, as usually in testing, and so we used a little bit smaller sample set of messages. Okay, 15. We also used this SDK for client server evaluation version for test. This was a test target, a little bit more than first time, and test tool was Codenomicon Defensix OPC UA, this server test suite. Actually, we helped them to develop this tool to work with the target. so that it would be usable for many other targets too. So we tested this binary TCP with model-based. We modeled the traffic and then started manipulating the traffic. And some selected test cases were run, and usually it was overnight process to run these test cases. And generally the target survived well. It was able to continue correct operation. We also tested some the encryption and certificate handling things too, and some slow down of services was the only typical reaction for the target. For you to know, Tenable Nessus vulnerability scanner was useless here, for example. Then we did some other fluid testing also, and TCR. We had Linux, Windows, and SDK versions also as a test target, and we concentrated on those testing because it's most important to keep systems up, whatever happens in the network. Test tools were port scanning, network flooding, some packet manipulation of OPC UA messages, and then this coordinate defensive traffic capture feature was used, where we can actually develop a test tool for any protocol possible. Okay, again, test target survived quite well, was able to continue, even we flew it as much as possible. And there was something to improve in the log handling. Okay, if there is very high overload, then nothing survives, that's for sure. And only few test cases were found where this was repeatedly jammed the test target. Okay, quite a good points for process. And usually our goal is to get this cybersecurity kind of tool set to designers' desktop so that the company can themselves test, so they don't need to come to us. It needs to be continuous process always in basic testing or function testing phase. VTD also has expanded from war room. We can also do as a kind of more wider scope testing. We can check public information, what is available in the internet about the company's systems. Is there to get the information if there is too much knowledge available in the internet for attackers to utilize. You should not put everything to the internet about your systems, your configurations, your firewalls settings, and so on. No. And then we have done social engineering attacks that the customer base. So we are testing the employees that can they behave correctly if somebody's calling them or sending an email. Is their reaction secure enough so that nobody can fool them? And then of course this black box testing or white box testing that I was telling you a minute ago in the war room. Yes, some sample of tools that we are using, commercial tools on the left and free open source tools on the right. Nowadays I can give you this information because many other organizations are already using these same tools. It's not news anymore. This is actually almost the last slide. We also arrange cyber defense hands-on workshops where we teach the customers to hack themselves, to see how easy it is to use open source tools to hack their own systems, just in a couple of minutes, whatever security they have. And then we also teach them how they could find those attacks, how to detect attacks, and how they should defend against the attacks. Okay, thank you. This all was part of the Kyberteo that I'm running also, where we are developing and testing services for companies, for Finnish industry. That's all.